Jai Hind to all. Today I'll be discussing some very important topics in the subject project management and entrepreneurship. Well, these are the contents that I'll be covering today. Initially, I'll tell you what is basically the difference between manager and an entrepreneur. Then I will tell you what actually entrepreneurship is. Then I'll discuss about the benefits of entrepreneurship. Then I'll let you know the difference between entrepreneur and intrapreneur, right? They are not the same thing. So what actually is the difference between them? Then I'll tell you the role of entrepreneurship in the development of an economy. Then we comes to the decision process, and lastly I'll be talking about the problem of entrepreneurship. So let's discuss each and every particular topic one by one. What is actually the difference between manager and entrepreneur? See, they seems to be same, but they are not actually same. So what is actually the difference between two? It is very, very important that we need to be very much clear on this particular topic. An entrepreneur and a manager makes a very interesting comparison in the field of managing any particular type of project. Now, to succeed as an entrepreneur, one is required to possess great managerial skills. See, I have discussed in my previous lecture also that if you need to be a good entrepreneur, it is a very important characteristics that we need to be, we should have the proper type of managerial skills available with us. Therefore, there are a lot of commonalities against between the two in terms of planning, because again both the managers as well as the entrepreneur manages the thing, they plan the thing, they organize the thing, they direct the thing, they should have the ability of controlling. So these are the different qualities of the manager. However, there are great deal of differences as well, right? These are the different points where we can see that there is actually the similarity between the manager and an entrepreneur, but if we talk about difference, of course the list is endless. So that means there are a number of differences between the manager and the entrepreneur. So the difference primarily lies actually in the approach to different type of issues that we are going to deal with. Now, this particular table will make us actually clear between the different points, which will make you clear the difference between the manager and the entrepreneur. If we talk about the primary motive, so what is actually the primary motive of the manager? Promotion and other traditional corporate rewards such as office, staff and the power. So that is actually the primary motive of the manager. If we talk about entrepreneur, they are independent. As I told you in my previous lecture also that they have the, they are actually independent, and again they have the capability of taking different type of decisions according to different type of scenarios. Then they have the opportunity to create and again to create and to make a money. If we talk in terms of time orientation, they are short term, right? Managers are short term, meeting different costs and budgets weekly, monthly or again quarterly. But if we talk about entrepreneur, survival and achieving 5 to 10 year growth of business, because they actually think of a big business, they actually are not very much interested that in a day, in a week or in a month we will be able to get some sort of profit out of it. If we talk about functional style, in terms of manager, delegates and supervises more than direct type of involvement. So they actually does not involve directly, they simply supervise or they simply direct. Okay, they are going to delegate, but they don't actually involve in a direct manner. If we talk in terms of entrepreneur, there is a direct involvement in any particular type of enterprise in a particular entrepreneur. In terms of risk appetite, they are low and careful approach to decision making, right? When manager need to take a particular type of decision, they actually becomes, very much careful in making or taking any particular type of decision. If we talk about entrepreneur, they are actually the risk taker, right? They don't afraid of taking any particular type of risk. So they are moderate in taking any type of risk. Follows dreams with decisions because they have the capability and they should, possess whatever they actually want to do. So it is important that they have the proper decision making capability. They deals with mistakes and against the types of different failures. They have the guts to deal with any type of failure if it is occurring in the organization. In terms of attitude, managers are actually conservative. They are hierarchical, status conscious attitudes we generally need to see in the case of manager. If we talk about entrepreneur, no concern about the status symbol. So they need not have to worry. They actually don't worry. In terms of decision making style, managers generally takes the safest path, right? Because they actually, going to take the decisions in a very, very careful manner. So they are very much interested in taking a very safest path. They tries to put decision making to others so that if there is any type of failure of occurring in the organization, nobody is actually going to blame them, right? So if any type of scenario is going to occur, they generally tries to push this decision making so that nobody is going to blame them actually if in case or there is any type of failure, like any type of losses if it is going to occur in the organization. Then follows the wishes of higher management. Whatever are the wishes of higher management, manager is one who is going to always follow those type of wishes. If we talk in terms of entrepreneur, they are independent in making the decisions. They need not have to take any sort of, an advice also from any other person. So they are independent in making any decisions. They always take bold decisions with calculated risk in favor of higher profit potential. So they are not actually afraid of making any particular type of risk, and they generally takes different type of risk. Again, in terms of skills, we can say that professional training, okay, there are different type of business schools. So managers are generally trained. If he talks about entrepreneur, they knows business intimately. So there is no specific type of training that need to be given to an entrepreneur, based on which we can say that if you are going to give this type of training, the person can become a very good entrepreneur, right? Whereas in the case of manager, of course, there are different type of very good high reputed business colleges from where an individual is going to study or is going to take a training, and of course one can become a good manager as well. Education level, managers are generally highly educated, whereas if we talk in terms of entrepreneur, they may be less educated in earlier studies, right? Attention, they primarily on events inside the corporation. So whatever the like events which is actually occurring inside the organization, they primarily focuses on that. If it talks in terms of entrepreneur, they primarily focuses on technology, and again the market. It is very, very important that they need to be very much aware of the type of technology, about the type of market strategy which is there in the current scenario. In terms of action, delegate action, supervising, and again reporting is there in the case of manager. Whereas in the case of entrepreneur, the hands gets dirty. They may upset employees by suddenly doing their work as well. Failures and mistakes, they strive to avoid mistakes and surprises, right? They're not very much interested in making any type of surprises. Whereas in the case of entrepreneur, they deals with mistakes. If any type of mistakes is occurring, they have the guts, they have the power of dealing with those type of mistakes and failures as well. And again, they take it as a type of learning experience, right? It is very important that if you face any type of issue, if you face any type of failure in the, in the market conditions and as well, so that means we will be able to even learn out of it, that what are the reasons, what are the consequences if this problem is actually not solved in the particular period of time and all. So consequences, the reasons, the issues, they need to be properly handled, and again entrepreneur have the guts of dealing with that. Then again, problem solving style, works out problem within the system. Whereas if it talks in terms of entrepreneur, they deals with problem in large and formal type of structure. Now, what is actually the difference between an employee and an entrepreneur, right? They are again not the same. So again, there is a basic difference that can be very much clear to you with the help of this particular figure, you can say. First is the work. If we talk in terms of employees, something to get away from, right? A normal employee will, generally have this type of feeling that they'll always be, try to get away from any particular type of work. Whereas if you talk in terms of entrepreneur, they are very much excited about the work, whatever work they are going to deal with. They'll never get away from their work. They are very much excited in doing the work. In terms of serious effort, something to do for a short period of time, right? So they are not very much interested that if there is any type of serious effort, they are quite interested in doing it all the time. They are not of that type. We talk in terms of entrepreneur, something to do all that time, even if there is any type of serious effort required. So they are very much happy and they are anxiously, going to take some type of the issues that they are going to continue it in a long term as well. Support, something they deserve, right? Employees always deserve some support. Whereas in terms of entrepreneur, we can say that they basically create the support, right? They don't deserve the support. They are the one who create the support. And again, there will be different employees who will be supported by the whatever the support that is given by the entrepreneur. Then comes is the income, something to be received immediately, right? Employees very much interested in getting the particular income immediately. Whereas if it talks about entrepreneur, something to be earned later. So they need not have to worry that immediately I'll be getting some sort of income out of the project or out of the, the organization where actually one has involved a huge amount of money and all. That is something that can be even earned later also. That is basically the thinking capability of the entrepreneur. Now, what do we understand by the term intrapreneurship, right? This is not entrepreneur, this is intra. So, what do you mean by this term intrapreneurship? Gifford discovered this particular word entrepreneurship in the year 1982. This is defined as an entrepreneurship within an existing business setup, right? That means in a very simple language, we can say that if there is any type of business which is already, existed business, if there is entrepreneurship within that particular business, then we simply call this as intrapreneurship, right? So, we can say that it is corporate entrepreneurship. When a corporation indulges in entrepreneurial activities like diversification into new classes, it is again called as an entrepreneurship. So, that means it is basically the entrepreneurship within an existing business setup. Now, entrepreneur is the manager who focuses on innovation and creativity, again, who is going to brainstorm, who is going to dream and put different type of ideas into a venture. Of course, the venture need to be a profitable venture by operating within the particular type of environment, and that is why we are actually calling it as intrapreneur and not the entrepreneur, right? So, it is a tool for capitalizing the entrepreneurship spirit of employees in any organization. It simply gives the manager the freedom to try new ideas, right? Okay, they are going to give the freedom to the manager so that they'll be able to think according to the new ideas by simply employing the firm's resources in the particular type of way. So, that is again very, very important that even if you have the resources available with you and you are not actually able to, use those particular type of resources according to the requirement, that is of course the major problem. So, that need to be properly catered about. Now, there is Google Entrepreneurship Program. Through this entrepreneurship program, all the employees are empowered and encouraged to spend 20% of their time on the projects that interest them and that they think will benefit the Google as their customers. That is what is the entrepreneurship. This innovation time has a formal process for their selection. There is a proper type of formal process for the selection of this particular type of project. Formal evaluation process generally used to take place. Again, the monitoring of each Google approved entrepreneurship approach then later on takes place. Then again, for the Google employees to participate in the program, they need to subject the proper type of proposal as well within the particular type of time frame. That is also important. It is again critical to note that several of Google's newest products and services such as Gmail, Google News, Orkut were all originated through this particular program. So, that means you can understand that how important this particular program of Google is. Now, in India also, Marico manufacturers of Parachute Hair Oil, Saffola, Kaya Skin, Clinic Industries have institutionalized innovation awards where they receive around 30 to 40 different type of entries every year from innovation across the spectrum, including different. So, you can see that how actually the things are evolving, how actually the brands are evolving, what is actually the type of modifications that has been actually done, which is going to cover the complete type of organization in the scenario. Now, what are the consequences of not encouraging entrepreneurship, right? If we are not encouraging any particular type of entrepreneurship in a particular type of organization that we are dealing with, what are the consequences that we are actually going to face? A classic case of entrepreneurs is that of founders of Adobe and Charles. They both are actually the employees of Xerox. As employees, they were frustrated because their new product ideas were not. See, it is very common thing. If you have a new idea with you, and if people or if society is actually not encouraging your idea, so it generally seems that the people gets frustrated. So it is actually the thing which happens with these two guys, that they are actually frustrated because the product, the new idea of the products, that is actually not encouraged in the society or the market. So they quit the Xerox in early 1917 to begin their own business, and then again you can see that how big that their particular turnover is. So it is very, very important that if you need to think big, you have the proper, the plan, the strategy, so that you will be able to start accordingly. Now, there are different type of hurdles also in entrepreneurship. It is not again as easy as it seems to be. There are different type of hurdles in the case of entrepreneurship. What are those hurdles? There is again the need for the organization alignment, right? Proper alignment of the organization is must. That is must, and generally, we actually face, or we actually have an issue in the proper alignment of the organization. That is again the biggest hurdle. Then again, dependence on company resources. Okay, whatever are the resources of the company, of course, if we are working in that particular company and if you are working in that particular enterprise, it is must that the proper resources should be there, right? So dependency on the resources there, and if there is so much of dependency on the resources of the company, this is again a type of biggest hurdle. Then again, dependency on existing business model. Whatever business models an individual is going to pick with, they have the proper dependency on those type of business models as well. Inability to move beyond past successes, that is again the biggest hurdle. Low risk appetite, level of integration can be an issue. Short term and long term results can again be a hurdle. Then again, what are the benefits of entrepreneurship? There are different type of benefits as well. There are different type of hurdles as well. So let's discuss the benefits. First is that we'll be able to identify the opportunity in the particular organization, in a particular type of enterprise. So we'll be able to identify the opportunity. That is a benefit. Attracting entrepreneur talent. That is also important. Increase ROI from long range investments. Expansion in the design of a particular type of business, if we are having, expansion can be done. Ensuring the different competitive advantage. So these are the different type of benefits of an entrepreneurship. Now, as I told you, we have already discussed about this term entrepreneur, and today we have discussed about entrepreneur. So what actually is the basic or the main difference between the two? Because it seems to be same, but they are not actually same. What is this? The primary motive of an entrepreneur is that they are independent, they have the opportunity to create wealth because they think big, they have the guts of taking different type of risks, they can take independent type of decisions as well. So they have the capability, they have the opportunity, with the help of which they will be able to create a particular type of like the wealth in the country, which is definitely going to increase the economy of the country as well. Then again, corporate rewards in the case of entrepreneur. Dependency, an entrepreneur is independent in his operation. He is not, depending on any type of resources from a particular type of, enterprise, which we see as a hurdle in the case of entrepreneur, right? So he is independent in the opportunities, in the operations which he is performed. In the case of entrepreneur, but an entrepreneur is dependent on the entrepreneurs. Of course, they are dependent on an entrepreneur. Raising the funds, the entrepreneur himself raises funds which is required for the particular type of industries, right? They'll be able to generate the fund, whatsoever amount of money, whatsoever amount of, the total economy, whatsoever is required, they'll be able to deal with. Funds are not raised by the entrepreneur. They'll not be able to raise any particular type of fund, whatever is required in that enterprise. Risk, entrepreneur bears the risk, whatever is involved in the business. Okay, and if there is any type of risk that need to be properly taken care of, they have the guts, they'll be able to deal with that particular risk, and of course they'll let you the proper solutions of coming out of any particular type of scenario, due to which there is any possibility that the success of the project is actually in the stake. Then in case of entrepreneur, they does not fully bear the risk which is involved in the enterprise. In terms of operation, entrepreneur operates from outside, whereas in the case of entrepreneur, they operates from within the organization itself. That means they don't operate from outside, they generally operate from the organization itself. Failure and mistakes, In case of entrepreneur, they deals with different failures and mistakes that whatever the issues may be, they have the guts, they'll be able to deal with. Whereas in case of entrepreneur, they attempts to hide risky projects until ready, right? Until the particular project is ready, they'll simply try to hide if there is any type of risk associated in the particular type of project. So you can see that there is a, the list is quite big, and again there are a number of differences between the two. Now, what is the role of entrepreneurship in the economic development of the country, right? It's something which plays a very important role in the economy of a particular country as well. So what is the role? Entrepreneurs plays a significant role of the country. According to Harbison, entrepreneurs are primary movers of innovation and growth, right? They are very innovative, they are growth oriented, and again that is the reason that they play different type of roles in the society. So the different roles are innovator in economic growth, right? Of course, economic growth is something which is directly dependent on it. So they are definitely going to work accordingly. Generation of employment opportunities, they are the one who create the jobs, right? Who create the employment. So they again plays a very important role in that. Then again, complementing and supplementing economy growth, right? They work as a like complementary, so that the economic growth of the country is going to increase. Again, they balance social stability. Okay, social stability is basically balanced. Then they balance any type of regional development if there is any. Again, they are going to export the promotion, right? If there is any type of export which is required, so they are definitely going to export any type of promotion. Import substitution, augmenting and meeting local type of demands. Of course, it is something which is going to work depending on the type of demands what an individual is having. And if in the market, if you are not actually able to understand the current requirement or current demand in the market, it is very difficult to actually supply the particular product in terms of the demand. So it is very important that you need to make sure the demand of an of an individual, of the society, and based on which of course the supply is going to take place. Helps to reduce concentration of economic power as well. The establishment of backward, and again if there is any type of forward linkage, so they are going to establish the proper type of linkage. Mobilizing different type of resources like finance, the people, the money, human resources, any natural resources whatsoever. So they are the one who actually plays a very important role in the economy of the country. Then there are different type of problems of entrepreneurship. What is actually the problem? In terms of internal problems, we can say that choice of an idea is the problem, right? Out of those ideas, so you need to choose one. So what is the issue with type of the major problem in this particular case? So that means the planning should not be product according to the current requirement. So poor management, if there is any, that is against the biggest type of problem. Then comes is the marketing. Marketing can be an issue. You have the product available with you, but again there is no buyer of that particular product. So do you think that that particular product is going to succeed in the market? So it is very important that you need to make sure the market strategy, so that the things works accordingly. Financial crunch can again be the problem. Labor problems, if any, they are again the biggest type of issue. Capacity utilization, not able to utilize the proper capacity, that is again the issue. Inadequate training and skill, very important point, right? Proper type of training, proper type of skill need to be given. If it is not given, it is definitely going to create an issue. So inadequate type of training, unstructured type of training, whatever is required according to the market, if we don't have the people in that particular domain according to the requirement, of course the things will not work as well. Then again, lack of motivation. Motivation is something which again plays an important role, right? So until and unless the people is actually motivated to do something, from inside or from outside, if you are getting any sort of thing, you will definitely give you 100%. But if there is no motivation, there is lack of this thing, people who are actually able to do it, they will not be able to do it because there is a lack of motivation. So that is again the biggest problem. Then again, there is poor coordination among the employees. If you talk in terms of coordination, it is something which plays a very, very important role. Proper coordination, proper communication among the different employees is must. So, until and unless there is proper coordination, there is proper communication, the things will not work flow. Right, the things will not flow in the proper direction that is actually required in this particular type of scenario. So, these are the different type of problems that we generally used to encounter, and that we generally used to encounter especially in the case of entrepreneurship. Now, if we talks in term of external issue, right, those were the internal issue. What is the type of external issue? There are infrastructural sickness, right, there can be any sort of problem regarding the location, right, any sort of a problem regarding the power supply, the water supply, the communication. So, these are the different type of external factors which are actually which actually create a type of problem in the case of entrepreneurship. And of course, financial, the capital, the amount of money, the recovery, the long term fund, these are again the biggest type of issue. Taxation issues, any type of raw material issues, right, any type of regulation in the case of finance, in the case of industry, that is again the biggest type of problem. Different inspections need to be there timely, they can create a type of issue. The technology, again different type of policies of the government as well, different type of hurdles of the administration, again corruption, that is almost the the major cause or the major problem that we generally used to encounter today. Competitive and again volatile environment like licensing problem, grey markets products, secular countries. So, these are the different type of issues in the case of entrepreneurship, or the problems in the case of entrepreneurship from the external point of view. Thank you students. Thank you so much.